Today we're in the office of the G.I.S. That's not a secret operation. Well, that's the G.I.S. Here in the planning department of the Wayne County offices on John Street, and we're talking with Chip Crumpler today. Chip is the coordinator of the G.I.S. office. Now, what does that mean? What is G.I.S.?
Well, G.I.S. stands for Geographic Information Systems.
Okay.
And
now, what does that mean?
Well, basically, it is a way to, used to in the old days, maps were drawn on paper.
Yeah.
And contained a shape, on a piece of paper. But with the G.I.S., it's basically a computer-driven way to create maps and deliver it out to your end client through a computer. Now, also additionally with that, once you're using a computer, you can attach additional information other than just a shape to your map. You can attach information with that shape.
And I also imagine it would make things a lot easier if there are any changes or adjustments to make. You can make them without having to draw a new map.
That's correct. You make change to the data, and then all your end users would see that change immediately.
And these are maps of, I presume, the county, but what do the GIS maps show here in Wayne County?
Well, primarily the main data that we capture here and update and keep edited is tax parcel data.
Okay.
So when somebody sells a piece of property or subdivides a lot or subdivides a piece of property, a deed is recorded or a subdivision plat goes through the planning office and then it ends up in the register of deeds office as a recorded plat. Tax parcel mapping then takes those descriptions and maps and splits that property up to keep track of ownership and for taxation purposes.
How far back do we go as far as that's concerned?
Well, the county got into tax parcel mapping. It used to be done by hand.
Oh, wow.
On a map, on a paper map, drawn with a pencil, pen, set. And, sometime in the early 90s, they converted everything over to GIS or digital capture. And the county's been doing it that way ever since. So they've been in it a long time.
So from that time, moving forward, from that time forward, it's whoever owned a particular piece of property at that time till now is what's on file and on record. Do we go beyond that, back any further?
No, we only keep current ownership because it's for the purposes of taxation. So whoever currently owns it, that's who's getting the tax bill.
But what might be some of the other reasons we would find these maps of interest?
Okay, our second and third most important layers of information that we capture here are address point locations. So if somebody comes in and they pull a building permit or they develop a new subdivision and we issue addresses for each of the lots, that's the physical 911 address of each residence or structure. So that's a database that we maintain here. It's approximately 70,000 features in that data. So and that's important to maintain because we want that data to be shared out with other agencies. They have access to the data. They can know the current address. But more importantly, our 911 center will be able to utilize that data in dispatching emergency response to those locations.
Now, how does that work? If someone calls into 911 and they're not able to give an address, how does that work?
Well, the phone call, the phone number that you're assigned from the phone company automatically has a code associated with the phone number. That code knows what the interpretation of the dispatch is. Now, the actual person in the dispatch office can override that and dispatch who he or she wants to respond, but it's automatically dispatched based on that information coming out of that that CAD system downstairs in the 911 center and also this GIS data.
Yeah.
So, but also another address-based feature that we maintain, of course, is street information. So not only do you see the physical feature of the street on the map, you have the attributes associated with it, such as the street name, the address range on each block. It has a direction of flow on the street, address information, pavement conditions, who's the
pavement conditions.
Yes, sir.
If there's a pothole, it's on there.
Well, it doesn't have that. It doesn't get down to that level, but it identifies whether it's a paved or unpaved street.
Oh, I see.
And also a miles per hour is recorded in there,
and you can find all that information on your GIS map. Is that right?
Yes. Information, those are basic features that are available. We dispatch it out to, you know, our CAD system uses it, our tax office uses it, all of our departments have access to it. But also the public has access to it. And, you know, you can get access to that information through our web application. If you've ever used Google Maps or any of the web-based mapping applications, they consume our data and manipulate it to meet their needs, and that's how they update their maps.
But it originates from this office.
Yes, sir.
The information comes from here, and then Google and Yahoo access that information.
They would get a download about every 6 months, and then they update their maps based on what they get from us.
I see. Now, you mentioned this is available to the public. This is open to the public. So anyone could go onto the county website and link on to the GIS page.
Yeah, you can access the data directly in our public web map application, maps.wayngov.com.
Oh.
Or if you had your own mapping application that you were using, you know, for whatever purposes, you could actually download the data off of our web application. So we make some of this data available for reuse in other applications through our web page.
If someone was interested in how their property is listed, or their area is listed, or what their street details about their street, they can find it on this page.
Oh yeah, well, that kind of information you can just through our public access.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So we also capture other data too. It doesn't just stop there. You got, you know, zoning information. So if you want to know what your property was zoned, you can go in there on the maps.wayngov.com, inquire in and identify if you were in a zoned area or not. You can identify if you were in a flood zone. You could identify, see contour lines for your property. We have 2-foot contours available online. Soil conditions, soil types, information about the soil on your property.
And all this is on maps.wayngov.com.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Well, now, if this would also be of interest to someone who may be interested in, say, buying a home in a particular area, if
Correct.
you put that address in, or if they want to sell their home.
Correct.
Does it show information about your neighbors?
It will show ownership information, you know, whoever the listed owner is. It doesn't, you know, if it's a renter or a tenant, they don't, we don't capture that information. We don't have any method or means to do that, but it does show ownership information. You know, if somebody wanted to research sales in a particular neighborhood, they can go in there and they can see the properties that were sold within a particular year, values. You know, other information that we capture here, of course, is with crimes. And we have crimes information. So if you were looking at purchasing a home in a particular neighborhood, you could access our crime application on the sheriff's web page and look up an address and review the crimes. It's default for the last 2 weeks, but you can go back several years. I think back to about 1996, it will show you the crimes in that neighborhood.
Wow.
So that's information that we dispatch back to the public too. I mean, we use it internally, but obviously we're making it available back out to the public. So it's pretty nifty. It
is nifty, and it's for anyone who needs to know more about where they live, about the neighborhood in which they live, perhaps what they want to know about the county. Does it show anything? Is there anything available besides crime information?
We have also restaurant inspections, hotels and lodging inspections, pool inspections, restaurant establishments, anything that environmental health goes out and inspects for their health inspections is also available on that same crime application. We also have sex offenders mapped on there as well.
All right.
So that's available on there. You can click on, you'll see their last noted address and link to their data so that you can investigate them to, you know, further.
Yeah. So this is the GIS office, and you're part of the planning department here for Wayne County. How many hundreds, I would have to guess maybe 100 or so people you have working for you in this, in this office. What, is that not right?
No, no.
How many people you have working with you?
We use an enterprise-wide system here. So We have about, I'm the coordinator, and I'm located here. There normally is another person in planning that is a planning technician and analyst, GIS analyst. That's a vacant position right now.
Oh.
So we utilize GIS people in every department at certain levels. So like Board of Elections has a GIS person. Office of Emergency Services has a GIS person. The tax office has 2 GIS people. I'm here because this is where development originates. This is where the emergency 911 address is issued. This is where the streets are created and street addressing is maintained. So we do, the planning department does the addressing coordination with 911 for Bell South. So it's important that that data is maintained. That and the parcel data and aerial imagery are the 4 major data layers that we like to keep current. And so it's important that we stay on top of addressing issues. Another thing to note is our city of Goldsboro and the county of Wayne, our GIS data is connected to each other, so to speak, so that the city is responsible for maintaining the addresses and streets in their jurisdiction. Our county staff does not involved in maintaining their data. That data comes back together every day, and so we have live access to their data. They have live access to our data. So they update their water billing system. They update with parcel information. They have all that, you know, without having to go through any special procedure to get it from us.
Well, this is a fascinating office. Anyone who's interested in maps, and this and
that's basically what it is.
That's what it is. It's maps, and that's a fascinating topic to me. Ever since I was a kid, I've loved looking at maps, and there's a lot of people that that enjoy that sort of thing. And you can get a wealth of information from the maps here in the GIS office by going online to maps.waynegov.com. And if someone is not online, if they do not have a computer, how would they access this information?
If you don't have a computer, it's kind of hard to access that type of information. We do custom mapping for the public when time allows.
Maybe the public library. They can
public
get
library.
online.
You can go to public library, access that. You can access our applications in the tax office. We have public access terminals in the tax office. Also in the parcel mapping office, there's another terminal there. You know, and we do produce flat paper maps for different authorities, people who come in and want to purchase a map. We will do that for them.
Do you get it all involved with name changes, street name changes, highway names?
Street names get changed. We maintain that data. You know, that's updated, it's live. We keep it current as of the day that it...
And how often is this information updated?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day. If somebody comes in here right now, pulls a building permit, and we issue an address for a new construction, it's entered in.
Got it.
Because when that house is under construction, they could have a 911 call to that location. So it's important that, you know, that data be current. If it's not current, it's no, you know, you're just, it's not that good.
It's a fascinating office, fascinating topic. Maps,
and more maps.
And more maps. Talking with Chip Crumpler, who is the coordinator here in the GIS office. He's in the Department of Planning for Wayne County. And maps, again, that is maps.waynegov.com. And Chip, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm Wayne Alley for WGTV.